Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you doing? This is Amanda. I hope that you're well. My microphone won't go any further. Oh, well. I've got it set up slightly differently because I'm doing a podcast on Monday with somebody, and when it is done, I will let you know. It's not going to be live, but I've been rejigging all my gear, so that's why we've got a slightly different angle. Before we get into the main subject of this video, which is going to be the Jupiter Uranus Conjunction this weekend, also just to say, I know I don't need to apologise for my faithful followers, but thank you. My energy is a little bit low in terms of being tired this morning, but I do want to bring this forward for you. Also, before I get any comments that, I'm looking a bit odd, I've had some treatment on my face this week, just sun damage type stuff and age-related stuff. Nothing to be concerned about, but I've got a few scars on my face which will heal within a week or so. But because I do get those type of comments sometimes. Have you been crying? No, I'm just getting older and I'm having a bad day. So we're all having a bit of a bad week because the collective energy right now is difficult. It's heavy, and this weekend is heavy. So let's try and unpack it. Let's try and lighten it, which is our job as light workers. But let's also be real with each other that it's a difficult energy out there right now. And let's come together as a community and be there for each other also. Okay, where to start? I'm going to start with, I just cut the pack that I'm going to be using in this reading. It's the Lunar Tarot, and this was on the bottom of the pack, which is the Two of Swords. But what's interesting is what it says on the bottom, which is stuck in the middle, and it led me to a song, a good song which many of you might know, which is Stuck in the Middle with You. And I'm blown away by the lyrics because it talks about the jokers and the clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. And I'll read you the lyrics in a moment, but it says to me that these clowns and jokers are the leaders of our world who are making the decisions with regards to yet more war, yet more fighting behind closed doors. And the people on the streets just want peace, and we're so weary of it. We're so tired of it. And I think that's what we're all feeling right now. So, these are the lyrics. It says, "Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I've got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. Losing control, I'm all over the place. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you." That's where we are, guys. We're stuck in the middle with these current leaders that we've got, which don't have the solutions to the problems that we have in our world, whether that be at national level, whether it be at local level, and certainly whether it be at global level. Stuck in the middle with you. A very appropriate song also for this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus this weekend. Let's unpack it, shall we? So I'm not going to come at it from an astrological perspective because I'm not an astrologer. I'm just going to come at it from my perspective as a spiritual being, like we all are. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet that will blow things out of proportion. Uranus, the planet of the unexpected, the planet of revolution, the planet of change, the planet of explosion, the planet of radicalism. Conjunct in Taurus, Taurus, the sign of the bull, stubbornness, groundedness, rootedness. That which is rooted, that which is grounded, can we shake it to its core? Sort of the energy of this weekend. I do want to put and ask all light workers to put a umbrella of protection over, well, the whole world, of course, but I've just got a bit of a feeling with regards to London. Now, let me just make sure I'm right in this. I think the London Marathon is tomorrow. So not wanting to wish anything into that, of course, envisioning it going off well. Yeah, it's Sunday the 21st of April, so it's bang in the middle of all of this. Can we just envision the London Marathon, as I say, going peacefully, without any issues, and the happy day that it normally is, with crowds, we've all seen the pictures, crowds cheering people on, Herculean effort from the runners to try to do their personal best. Think of the symbolism of that. If we all try to do our personal best, if we all put a Herculean effort into the energy of peace and working on our shadows, this stuck energy of being in a world with so many fools would cease to exist, because we would bring in a higher intelligence when we all start to listen to our own higher self more, and bring in the masters who can help us bring in solutions for the new world that we wish to see. We don't want the old world in the way that it is to keep carrying on forever. I keep feeling this last week, it's very much been the energy of thinking 7 generations forth. We can only do so much in any one incarnation, in any one lifetime. But if we could only think in 7 generations' time, what we plant today, the seeds, the thoughts, the actions that we do, can create miracles for the future. So, yeah. Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. Apparently it's the first time that these two planets have collided, or been conjunct, since May 1941, I believe. And just having a quick look at what was going on during May 1941, of course, it won't surprise anybody to remember that we were in World War II. London was being heavily blitzed. I'm sure lots was going on in other parts of the world. That's what came up first in Google, probably because I'm in the UK and it showed a UK reference. Where is the blitz happening today? There was a blitz happening overnight with missiles raining into Iran, for example. I've done a video a week ago on the situation between Israel and Iran. You can look back on that if you haven't already seen it. You will remember that we had the card which showed the different doors that we can go through as a world, whether we want to just carry on creating war, and the money that it creates, of course, is a big reason why war still persists, the money-making machine. But the answer lay in blue sky thinking, the door which had the blue sky and the clouds. Blue sky thinking is what we need, people getting round a table to come up with solutions that might be difficult, that might be challenging, that might buck the trend. But equally, with Uranus in town, expect the unexpected can also be from a positive perspective as well. Okay, anything else to say before I start pulling some cards? Over breakfast this morning, there was a news article talking about this. So I believe it's going to be the 80th anniversary of D-Day this year. And today they are moving a load of metal silhouettes that have been, I believe, completed in the UK to France for this, or maybe they're already there. And it's going to look a bit like this. It's called Standing with Giants. So you can look it up yourself, Standing with Giants. So the idea is that these metal silhouettes depicting the soldiers and all participants basically in the war are going to be set up in the Normandy landscape. And I'm assuming what happens is that you can walk amongst it. So I thought that was extraordinarily poignant, the fact that there's an art depiction, which is a living art depiction, an installation, which we can walk through. We can walk through ghosts. We can walk through the giants from the past. The truth is, if any of us, the leaders, what was that song talking about, the fools and the jokers, if they were to actually be teletransported back into the past to remember what has happened before. They wouldn't want war. But we forget very easily, don't we? We forget very easily, which is why we keep repeating the cycles. So I think that piece of art, when it goes into the fields in Normandy, is going to be a very powerful portal for peace, actually. I'm almost quite drawn myself. I don't know how long it will be up. Please tell me if you know in the comments below. And I'm assuming, excuse me, that the public can walk amongst it. But if that was the case, I think any light worker that's called, I think what I'm being shown is it's like a labyrinth. It's like walking a labyrinth. But what respecting those that fell all those years ago and the sacrifice, but also walking a path of peace through it would be very powerful as well. Okay, guys, let's get to some cards. So that's called Standing with Giants. I don't know about you, but I've also noticed this week an uprising in anger within myself and frustration, linked into all sorts of things. And I've been very aware, as it's been happening, of the duty of care within myself to own it. And I'm not saying I've been completely successful, but I've done my best. I've certainly been able to see myself, even whilst it's been happening, from a higher perspective, to try to pull myself back from maybe going completely, Jupiter Uranus Conjunction type energy. But I think that's happening for a lot of us. It's interesting, isn't it, as well, that as I'm talking about anger and frustration, it's almost as though my voice feels very soft and low because I haven't got the energy to even talk about it anymore. It's as though there's enough with the projection, enough with the it's your fault that I'm feeling this. It's just a case of coming back to a place of acceptance that whatever is arising within us, let's just own it, okay? Let it stop here. Let it stop with me. Let me be able to process this, integrate this, channel this in a constructive way. What does that mean? I don't know. Whether it's through exercise, whether it's through a creative project, whether it's through tears, whether it's through stamping it out, but not channeling it in a way that can harm another. The other thing that happened, because we've got some things arriving in our home, I've been having a clear out in the loft, and I used to always keep a diary, actually. I haven't really kept one for a long time, but I came across some writings of myself, but also some writings from somebody else, let's put it that way. And they were angry words, and I reread them yesterday, and then I burnt them in the fire. There's this thing about transmuting it. What's the point of keeping it? I remember when I used to keep a diary a lot, and I'm going back decades, but there was one particular point in my life where I was very angry about something, also very upset, couldn't comprehend it. I used the diary to pour out all those feelings of despair, but also anger with the particular people that were doing what I thought were doing at the time. And I remember a while back just I took those pages out of the diary. Now, some would say that's not the right thing to do, but for me it was a release. So if that resonates with you, that can be something that's quite helpful to do. What we're trying to do is dissipate the flames, okay? Because what I could have done yesterday when I came across these things was I could have gone back into the feelings of that time and relived them and reignited them, okay? Whereas actually what the fire did when I put them onto the fire was it destroyed them. It transmuted them into something else, i.e. heat for my home. So it became something that was positive from something that was negative. Am I making sense? Yeah. So anger that's arising, using the dragons as well to help us transmute this. I've got the beautiful violet dragon sitting here on my desk who feels as though it wants to come in this weekend to transmute a lot of what is occurring and what is arising either within ourselves at a personal level or at a collective level. So let me just spray the violet dragon and see what comes through as well. So violet dragon, and this is called Master Clearance and a Dragon Defense Spray. I'm always shown the same thing, which is, it's interesting, because so dragons breathe out fire, but there's also smoke. So I'm seeing like smoke here, but the smoke's coming out of the nostrils of the dragon, but the smoke is coloured violet. And it's like it's creating this, for want of a better word, it looks a bit like the trails that you see in the sky. Let's not even go there today, but the trails that we see in the sky, but they're violet coloured, and they're trying to bring in an energy of transmutation to the skies. Okay, what I'm being shown now is that where the missiles have been sent, and I hate to say it, but it's going to be a tit for tat type thing. It's not finished, it's not over, it will continue. But if we could imagine wherever the missiles have gone, this violet, it's like a violet cloudy breath, vapour from the dragons going in to mop up the residue. Because put it this way, it's a bit like if you fire a gun or you fire a missile, or the intent with which you're firing it, in this case, with regards to war, is of course one of either fear, which can be linked into defence, or anger, or hate, or eye for an eye is definitely the energy that we've got right now in our world, playing out big time, an eye for an eye. And I did read I don't know if he calls himself a vicar, the man who was stabbed in Australia, the second stabbing that Australia had. Was it this week? I think it was, started this week. It's been a long week, guys, hasn't it? And he was stabbed in the church. And he then said something from his hospital bed, I believe. And he said, I was so glad to hear him say it, to be honest, because if you don't know what happened, so he was stabbed in the church. I believe his assistant was also hurt. His attacker was taken down. And then an angry mob gathered outside the church, demanding an eye for an eye. Now, I read that somebody had cut off his fingers. I don't know whether that's true or not. At that point, I just had to step back from the story because I was so saddened, not just, of course, by the stabbing of the priest, but by the reaction of the crowd, because an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, is what Gandhi taught us. It's just going to escalate it even more. And indeed, if the people within the church had had that energy of an eye for an eye, what hope is there for the world if religious people or spiritual people can't respond from a peaceful place? Anyway, this vicar did respond from a peaceful place. And he basically said what I've just said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. We must be Christ-like in our response. We must basically try to live from our heart, is what he was saying, and respond from a place of love. And he said, and it's so beautiful, I could almost well up really, just his words were something along the lines of, shall I get them actually? I'll get his words and then I can read them to you. But it was, he had no hatred in his heart, basically, for, I don't need to read them, Metatron saying, he's saying, just paraphrase, he's saying he had no hatred in his heart for anyone else. He had no hatred for other religions, any belief systems. It was a call for unity. And he was able to do that straight after having been stabbed and somebody coming at him with a knife. There's a very powerful image as well of the attacker coming at him with a knife, and the vicar's got his cross up, cross or crucifix. So the cross is there, the knife's here, and the cross won. What I mean by the cross won is the cross is a powerful symbol of protection. So yes, he was taken to hospital, he was hurt, but he could have died. He didn't die. And he didn't die for many reasons, but equally to bring through that message of love and unity. It's what's so needed at this time. Please, this weekend, try to turn to the people with the peaceful voices, with the grounded voices. these are days where many people, including many spiritual teachers, are going to be falling away because they can't walk the talk, basically. In the hour of greatest need, they either don't show up or they don't say anything, or what they say is inflammatory. And, you know, it is what it is, if that's the way they want to respond, of course. But it's not going to help move us forward towards peace. So that's where I'm at. Grounded, hopefully, wisdom, listening to people of that ilk, and the people that are sort of like getting, I don't want to use that word, but getting off basically on this whole situation. It's time to switch them off. I know I'm always going on about Twitter or X, but I'm not actually on them very much. But I think it was a couple of days ago, or maybe it was when Israel first responded, I think it was, and somebody put up something along the lines of, bookmark this date for the start, this is the date that World War III started, or something like that. But they were so hyped up and excited about it. And then on the back of that, they were selling some sort of, I don't know, emergency supply kit or something. And I just, it is what it is. There's always going to be people like that capitalise on it. But let's try to not do that. Let's just try to stay in our heart, keep doing what we're doing, you know, carrying on with our work, our business, our families. The dog still needs to be walked, the meals still need to be cooked, the kids still need to go to school, businesses still need to be run, etc. Okay? Right, let's pull some cards. And we're going to ask Archangel Metatron to come in, please, and guide us. I'm not going to make this video very long, but let's just pull some cards for this weekend. So Jupiter Uranus Conjunction in Taurus. What is there to say, please? We're going to have 5 cards. So the first card that comes out is the Tower. Really interesting depiction of the Tower. It makes this quite interesting, actually. Let me just get another card. Those of you that have got my Archangel Metatron deck, do you know the card that I'm about to pull out that matches the Tower? It's the Lilac card. Apologies for my voice, guys. Sorry, I'm not on top form today, but I really wanted just to come on to offer something for you all. The Lilac card, let me find it. It shows a fairy tale castle, basically. Can't even find it. It's interesting in itself. There it is. So this is the first card that's just come out, the Tower, yeah? And it says release. So whatever is happening this weekend is a powerful release. I mean, that can also be a release of anger. But look, this is why I wanted to show you this card as well. Can you see? So we've got the Black Tower and we've got the Violet Tower. I mean, it's not the Tower card. This is just like this is the Lilac card, which says higher realms and magic. And it's the fairy tale castle. And this is like the Gothic castle, isn't it? Can you feel the energy of those two? So in many ways, what Metatron is saying is, do we have a choice? Whatever's occurring, do we go into the dark Gothic tale that this is the end of the world, you know? That we're all doomed, that this is Armageddon, that this is World War III? Or can we go into this place, which is not pie in the sky? This is a template that is already existing, but not enough believe in it. Not enough believe in the realm of magic and higher realms and the ability of the violet light to transmute all of this darkness and to pull down a higher dimensional light that can change our world. Thank you to the seagulls. Which one are we going to believe in? Rather than thinking that the most terrible thing is going to happen, could the release be a huge surge influx of higher dimensional light. The truth is that whatever occurs, it doesn't just have to be this weekend, but whatever this Jupiter Uranus conjunction brings to our world, anything that is dark, there will be a polar opposite energy, which is light. And I think what we're feeling now, because look at that. No, let me just finish what I'm saying. There will always be a polar opposite reaction. So to anything that is very dark, there will be a huge influx of light. More and more people going into their hearts, more people praying, more people getting in touch with whatever their version of God is or spirit, starting to see the bigger picture. Look at that Tower card again. Can you see what this almost looks like missiles, doesn't it, coming in? All the light coming in. It's interesting as well that in this depiction of the Tower, in this deck, the Tower isn't actually falling. Is it? Those of you that read tarot, you know that usually on the tarot there is a depiction of either people falling from the tower or the tower itself is falling. But here this just says release. That tower is looking pretty secure, with the waters and the waves crashing against it. The lights are still on in the tower. It's taking a pummeling, but it's still standing. I feel as though that's an energy maybe linked into Jerusalem as well, actually. It feels something linked into the Holy Kingdom anyway. I'll pull some more cards, but it's trying to say something along the lines of whatever the darkness tries to do, however many missiles get thrown, etc., it's as though something still is standing at the end of it. But there's been a release. On the bottom of the deck, I will take the bottom one, then I'm going to reshuffle. We've got the Two of Wands, which is decisions. And in many ways, this fits with these other two castles. What are we going to choose? We're going to choose a higher template for our world and bring that down? Or are we going to stay invested in an old template where the status quo doesn't change very much? It's literally just tit for tat, tit for tat. I hurt you, so you hurt me back. We've also got the Hermit card as well. The Hermit. So that's 3 cards. Let me pull another 2. Before I go on, I'm just being asked to stop. I want to talk about the Hermit. This weekend, and the energy is already here. I've been in this energy, I feel, for most of the week. It's as though we're being given an opportunity to really go deep and see something about ourselves, learn something about ourselves, to evolve ourselves. Do you know, the interesting thing, when I was looking over some old papers and letters and diary entries yesterday, was there were 2 examples where I read something and it wasn't my memory was wrong. I'd remembered it wrong. I'd got it all wrong, that whatever somebody had said, they hadn't said it, or they'd said it in a totally different way. And it was really interesting. It was almost like, I know this sounds a bit crazy and a bit wacky, but it felt as though I believe we can rewrite scripts. I'll talk about that another day when I've got a bit more energy. But it's as though I was re-looking at almost like an akashic record of something that had happened in the past, and realising that, but I thought that happened, but actually it's saying something else happened. Has anybody else had that experience recently? It was really very profound. I learnt something, which is that the mind can play tricks with us, especially when distance is involved, time, distance is involved. We remember things wrong. Our memory isn't always correct. So that's one aspect. But equally, maybe also, when we've healed something to a large degree, we can go back, and it's like you re-look at an Akashic record, and it's a bit like invisible ink is what I'm being shown. It's as though something else, there's another narrative there, because you've changed. You've changed. The past can be changed because of a present action that leads to a different future action. And I'm getting a bit deep, but that's sort of where I was at yesterday. It was like, I can't believe that actually that's what it was, because I always thought it was this. There've been a few things like that recently. Do let me know, because it's so interesting. Okay, the Hermit. Right, let's carry on now. But definitely a weekend for retreating, solo time, meditation time, going within, asking for the answers, etc. We have the Ace of Wands, and we have the Moon. The Moon linked into the unconscious. Look at that, the two wolves again. Which wolf are you going to feed? Your shadow or your light? With the Ace of Wands, it's as though we've got the Wheel of Fortune on the bottom of the deck as well. It's a very powerful and strength. And the Chariot and the Magician. Oh my God. Right, hold on a minute. I've got 9 cards out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are major arcana. 7 of the 9 cards are major arcana. The Tower, the Hermit, the Moon, the Wheel of Fortune, the Chariot, Strength, and the Magician. We are going to be shown something about ourselves. We're going to be shown something about the world. We have a choice point moment. There are decisions that need to be made. The only 2 cards that aren't major arcana are the Ace of Wands and the Two of Wands. That's fire energy. It's saying to me, don't rush. Less speed. Less speed. What do I mean by this? Don't make rash decisions is what I'm trying to say. Don't make rash decisions that you might regret. Don't lash out. This is what I was really trying to say. It's like, try to own how you're feeling. However you're feeling is how you're feeling. Try to own it. Don't project it onto somebody else. Don't push it away either. For those that are willing to do the work, it's a very profound weekend of realizations. What do I mean by doing the work? What work was I doing yesterday? Nothing. I was sat upstairs, sorting through papers, reading them, reflecting on them, burning some, thinking, pottering, maybe using some crystals and some sprays, yes. But none of this is difficult. It's about creating the space and the pause button so that we notice something. We notice, we're present. I'm feeling this. Can I sit with this for a moment? Or am I going to push it away, run away from it, eat something, drink something so I don't have to acknowledge it? If you can sit with it this weekend, it's going to teach you something. You can also ask Spirit, of course, to come in and help you let it go. I asked Metatron to help me let go of what I was feeling, and I still am. So this is a powerful weekend at macro level and at micro level. Feels pretty predestined. It's a moment where we're facing our shadow and our light. The lion on this card, the strength card, is a white lion. Feels very much like Aslan, doesn't it? Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And of course, his energy is never able to be killed. It's the energy of rebirth. I love the fact that he's tended there by this divine feminine figure with all the white flowers in her hair. I've just noticed actually that in this deck, which is the Lunar Tarot deck, I've already shown you the Moon card, which has the two wolves, the light and the shadow. But look here, we've also got the Chariot. And of course the Chariot often has the white horse and the black horse. But here, in this deck, it's the two wolves. Two wolves. So it's appropriate at this point, is it not, to read out that old saying about the two wolves. Two wolves inside you. Ready? One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." It's a weekend to take note of the wolf that you're feeding within yourself, to notice the wolf that is being fed in the wider world by the jokers and the fools in our world. And it feels a destined moment for some to wake up, for others to deepen their awakening journey, and to remember that actually they are the magician. They are the magician, and that we can turn this around. We can turn what is dark to light. We can turn war to peace. Is it all going to happen in 2 days? No, of course not. But it's a powerful moment this weekend. Be very aware of your thoughts that you're putting out, because they're creating the reality. Right, I'm going to end by pulling one card from the Christ Consciousness deck. And then I'm going to get this up. Okay. Yeah? I'm being silent because he's saying, be silent. When are people going to get it? Walk the talk. Walk the talk. What would Jesus do? Walk the talk, the teacher. The teacher is amongst us as well. That we're all each other's teachers. And on the bottom of the deck, this card, yet again, comes out every time I pull this deck. Faith over fear. You can cope. In the stormiest moments, when you think that you can't, you can. That this energy is within you, the magician. But it only works from a positive perspective if you're feeding the right wolf. Feed the right wolf. Lots of love, everybody. Take care. I'll be back next week with a bit more energy. Have a safe weekend. Put an umbrella of protection over the whole world. Middle East, of course. Russia, Ukraine, all the trouble spots. But can you also put an umbrella of peace over London as well? I'm just picking that up. All will be well. Much love. Take care. Bye.